Hey guys, it's Danny the Odd Gamer here, and today we will be talking about the skunk ape, a Florida cryptid. And without any further ado, let's get into this. The skunk ape, also known as the swamp ape, stink ape, Florida Bigfoot, and Mayak ape, is a hominid cryptid said to inhabit the U.S. states of Florida, North Carolina, and Arkansas. Although reports from Florida are more common, it is named for its appearance and for its unpleasant odor that is said to accompany it. According to the U.S. State's National Park Service, the skunk ape does not exist. As a child, I feared nothing. My sister would try to scare me with those pop-up screamers, you know, the one that has the picture of the living room and you have to get really close to them and then boom! A face with no eyes and screaming out of the top of their lungs. That made me laugh. She wouldn't even go to Blockbuster and pick out the scariest movie she could find. I grew up on Jacob's Ladder, The Relic, Mimic, and The Last Broadcast. None of it stunned me. I would always just laugh, and laughing really made her mad. One day she brought home one of those ghost face masks from Scream and hid in my closet. When I got home from school, I heard strange sounds coming from my bedroom. She got out 20 minutes earlier than me. I knew it was her. I had a huge smile on my face. I walked over to my room, walked in, and slammed the door shut. I had a red marker in my pocket. I jammed it in my shirt sleeve and sat on my bed. I stared out the window, tried to make myself look zoned out or something. I heard a push on the closet. I turned my head and she came out screaming. I marked her mask 3 times, then I ripped it off of her face and threw it to the ground. I was laughing so hard, she was pissed. She spat on my shoes and looked me right in the eye. I will never forget the words she said. "I'm going to get you if it's the last thing I do. I won't move out till I do. I won't get married or have kids. I will make sure it's the last thing I do right before I die." After that, she stomped out of my room. I didn't even talk to her all night after that. Not even during dinner. Before I went to bed, I said, "Goodnight, sissy." She just glared at me and slowly walked into her room. The next morning was a Saturday, so I slept in a little bit. When I woke up, it was almost 11. I ran downstairs. Mom went to the YMCA to work out. Dad was a cleaning man at an office and worked until a bit after 5. My sister always went to her friend Zoe's house on Saturdays. Left around 10 most of the time. I took a quick shower, had some cereal, watched some cartoons, but then I heard a knock at the door. I got up to see who it was. It turned out to be my friend Warner. I first met him in 3rd grade. We didn't talk that much till middle school though. There was only a handful of us from our old grade school there, and Warner and I had 3 classes together. We quickly became good friends after that. Warner showed up on his bike. When I opened the door, I saw a thick fog behind him. I never saw fog before then, and neither did Warner. He wanted to go ride around in it and meet up with our other 2 friends, Riley and Stuart, at the park. It sounded fun to me, so I got my coat on and ran to the garage to get my bike. We rode off into the fog. He would always ride ahead of me, then start riding backwards and get right beside me. It would make me jump a little. He was riding in and out of the fog really fast. I wasn't scared or anything, like I said. It just made me jump a little. When we got to the park, it was covered in fog and we couldn't see anything. We laid our bikes by a tree and walked into the fog. I looked back trying to see the tree, and I saw nothing but fog. It is as if it swallowed us. Warner said, "There's no going back now," with a smile on his face. I replied with a nervous laugh. I will admit, I was kind of scared. We heard footsteps in front of us. They were moving extremely fast. Out came Riley and Stuart. Riley was showing off his new shoes he got. It was one of those where every time you took a step, red lights would start flashing. Warner wanted to go on the swing set. He ran over to it and yelled, "Who wants to see the amazing Warner fly into the fog?" Stuart replied in a soft and concerned voice, "What if you never come back?" Warner yelled back, "That's the fun part." He started swinging, going faster and faster with each thrust, getting higher and higher. He went over the top of the swing set, with a chain wrapping around it. Then, Warner let go, flying into the fog. And that's the last time I would ever see him again. We stood there for at least 10 minutes calling his name. I yelled, "Warner, come on, man, stop messing with us." Out of the blue, we heard a faint scream. We all had strange looks on our faces. Riley yelled, "Hey man, cut it out, joke's over." We heard the scream again, but even louder. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up. Riley was scared, but tried to cover it up with anger. He screamed on the top of his lungs, "Okay, joke's over. I'm gonna kick your butt when this is done." He was about to walk away from us when all of a sudden, Stuart got a hold of his arm. "Riley, don't." Riley would have got a look of fear in his eyes. I yelled one last time, "Warner, please come out," when a small object was thrown at me. I jumped out of the way, and what landed was Warner's right shoe. That was it. I started running for my bike. Stuart really bit behind me. I never ran this fast in my life. My heart started beating like no other. When I got out of the fog and got to the tree, I almost fell over, but the tree caught my fall. I looked over to where my bike should have been, and you guessed it, it was gone. Stuart started crying, really looked back, waiting for something to come out, and that's when I smelled it. It was horrible. I never smelled a dead person, but it was probably worse than that. The fog turned a slight green color. I felt sick to my stomach. We were all frozen, couldn't move. We started to hear footsteps. These were heavy. I think I felt the ground shake a little. Something started to come out of the fog, and the smell grew stronger. This is embarrassing to say, but I think I peed my pants a little bit. I saw a figure standing in the fog, a tall, dark figure. The fog was all around him, kind of like the fog was him, if that makes any sense. It felt like he was everywhere, all around us. We stared at him, and then a loud noise came from behind us. It sounded like the tree was falling over. I turned fast and screamed. I fell over, rolled into a ball, and said, "Please, please don't hurt me." Then I heard laughing. It was my sister and her friend Zoe. My sister fell to the ground. She was laughing so hard. She repeated the same line, "I got you, I got you." I stood up. I was so mad. I yelled, "Very funny, haha." She got up and put her hand on my shoulder. She said, "Sorry, bro. I have just been waiting for this day for so long." We really looked at my sister and asked, "Was Warner in on this?" She said, "Warner? Why would I even talk to that goofball?" Zoe looked at my sister, then looked at me, then looked around himself. She said, "What's that smell?" My sister looked off in the distance and saw it. But she saw it more clear than any of us. She said, "It's an ape." We didn't have any zoos around here. I don't even think our state had one at the time. She turned white and screamed, the loudest blood-curdling scream, and everyone gasped. She turned around and running. She kept hearing her scream, and then when she started to run, then boom! She got hit by a truck, speeding down the road. I replay that day every night in my dreams, and it haunts me like no other. I never knew what happened to Warner. His family looked for him for months. They gave up shortly after my sister's funeral. I like to call what we saw that day the skunk ape, a big ape-looking creature that smelled like a skunk. I never saw fog again after that day, and I never want to see it again. The only thing that really gets to me about all of this, my sister keeping her word. She scared me, and it was the last thing she ever did.